If you're looking to make solar simple, give Ron Domenico with AD Energy a call. All-day energy made simple. Solar solutions with zero down, options to lease or finance, and roofs and trees are no issue. Call Ron Domenico at 609-226-2802 and tell him you saw him on the Sports Box.
Well, hello again, and welcome to the show that you'll never have to go to tribal council and get voted off the island. This is the Sports Box, the only opinion that matters. It's right here. I am Mike Coletta, a.k.a. Hamilton Mike, along with my partner, Brian, the Ranger. Retard Brian.
You better not vote me off the island.
You've been eliminated. Anyway, well, if I could, you'd be going a long time ago. Anyway, so let's start off with part 4 of our mock draft segments. We will start with the 25th pick in the draft, and that will be the Houston Texans. And I think the Houston Texans are looking for different things to fall to them, possibly move around a little bit. But if they stay at 25, which I think they will, I think they go with the local kid, quarterback Patrick Holmes, quarterback out of Texas Tech. Here's a team that needs a quarterback, have gone through a couple quarterbacks in the last couple years. I think here's Patrick Mahomes, who's from the area, can kind of, I wouldn't say step in there and be a stud, but get in there right now and start learning the ropes and get him into the offense. Especially with the Deshaun Hopkins.
So they need a quarterback.
They do.
This is not breaking news.
No.
No, it's not.
Brock Osweiler's still there? No.
He is not. They actually had to give up a high pick to get rid of him. It's funny how that works, right? I agree with you wholeheartedly. You know, again, they're going to be a team that's really upset that Watson and Trubisky are not there.
Yep.
Because they really need to figure out who is going to be their quarterback for longer than 8 games. And it just seems like they cannot. There's no other team in the league, Mike, that over the past, let's say, 5 years has had such a good team without a quarterback.
Yeah.
If they had a quarterback at any of this time, they would be challenging New England to go to the Super Bowl. But they don't, and they can't seem to get it right. So they're going to take the local kid, Mahomes, out of Texas Tech. He's a guy they're going to try to build around. I still don't think that he's going to start, or he wouldn't start for them. They think Tom Savage is going to start for them. I think they're out of their minds.
Yeah,
I think you're wasting careers.
Yes.
Trying to get quarterbacks to play there, which is unfortunate for a Houston fan base that really cares a lot about their team. But I think they're happy to take Mahomes there to try to get another guy there to build around because some other targets are probably going to go ahead of them.
At the 26th pick, the Seattle Seahawks are looking to take. I mean, you look at the Seattle defense and you see all the people back there, but with the whole Richard Sherman thing going on this year, I think you're going to have a hole to fill there. Because I think he's not going to be there when the season starts. So if that is the case, in which I think it will be, you got to look at a guy like Kevin King, cornerback out of Washington. Here's a guy who's around the area. Seattle goes by defense. I mean, there's no doubt about it, folks. You win Super Bowls on defense, and I think Kevin King can step in there right now and play with that Legion of Doom, or play with that Legion of Boom. And really make a difference.
I like you making wrestling references when
you like that?
Making them. Legion of Doom. Again, I think that they're always looking for corners in Seattle because they're always looking to keep that defense top notch. I mean, that's where their bread and butter is. And I think offensively they're fine. I think they actually don't need a lot of playmakers there. So, to see a guy like King there, I don't think they're going to go safety. I think that they could. I think I could see maybe a Josh Jones there, but I just think unless they really know what they're going to do with Sherman and how that's going to play itself out, they want to make sure that that's taken care of. Kevin King's, again, a local kid. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think Kevin King's a pick at 26.
The 27th pick in the draft is the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think Kansas City will go defense. What a surprise again. I'm going to go with the safety Josh Jones out of NC State. Here's a Kansas City defense that has Berry back there, just redid a deal. Some guys in the secondary maybe didn't work out for them. I think here's a guy, Josh Jones, that can learn from Berry, can step into the offense, make a little bit of noise, maybe not a huge difference, but here's a guy that's going to build for the future. I think you put him in there with Berry and learn from him.
Nobody's more upset the way the quarterbacks have fallen in this draft than Kansas City, because I think that's the one position they really need to address. I think they probably would have at least heavily considered Mahomes at 27 if he didn't go earlier, at least in our mock that he does at 25. So for them, it is best player available. And again, you can never have enough great secondary in the NFL. It's a passing league, especially in the division that they're going to be in. Again, they're going to have to contend with Derek Carr for many, many years to come, and a great offense in Oakland/Vegas. So for me, I agree. I like Josh Jones there, the pick out of NC State, the safety for the Kansas City Chiefs.
And at the number 28 pick, That's right.
Hi.
You know what? I'm actually going to let you do this pick. The 28th pick, the
Will
Dallas
you?
Cowboys. Go ahead. I'll let you do it.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Fire it up.
Hey, the Dallas defense sucks.
Just don't get it on the floor. So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Rod Marinelli's done more with that defense than I think anybody can give him credit for. What a job! What a job! What a job! They really lucked out last year in getting Dak Prescott to be the quarterback of the future. I didn't agree with the Elliott pick when they made it. I still don't. Fine, great player. To me, it's defense, 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 and then when you're done drafting defense, trade for more picks and get more defense, because that's where this team has issues.
Yep.
Cornerback is a deep spot. I could totally see Tre'Davious White here, and I could totally see Adoree Jackson here. Wouldn't shock me in the least. For me, I happen to agree with Anthony in that pass rush is the biggest thing that makes your secondary better. They still have Byron Jones back there. Skandrick is still there. I believe Skandrick is still there. So they have to address the corners, and they will. But I think to see a guy that on our mock is still here in Derek Barnett is a gift. I think the way that this draft falls, if Derek Barnett, who many people have going significantly higher than when the Cowboys are picking at 28, I think would be excellent. I think it would be a great pick because, again, Randy Gregory is not walking through that door, and if he is, he's not going to be who you thought he was going to be. And that was the biggest thing that the Cowboys had last year, was they could not get to the quarterback. And imagine how much better that defense looks if you have an adequate pass rush. Even an adequate pass rush, not even a great pass rush. So for me, if he is there, if Barnett is there, take him. That's the pick.
You good?
Do you have any thoughts?
Good. No.
I had thoughts on your stupid team's pick.
I think it's a good pick. I think he does fall to that spot. I think it's a good pick for them. They're going to need a defensive end to get a little bit of push. And this team, like you said, is built on defense. I mean, you win Super Bowls on defense. There's no doubt about it, folks. You look at the last 5 or 6 teams win the Super Bowl. They win on defense. So I think the Cowboys have a good foundation. And here's a guy who's just going to add to the mix. How's that?
That's good enough.
Good. So before we get to our next pick, the 29th pick, the Green Bay Packers, we'll be right back.
This episode of the Sports Box is brought to you by Mic'd Up Entertainment and DJ Mike Velardi. For all of your event planning needs, make sure you contact Mike at 609-864-5925 and tell him that you saw him on the Sports Box.
And we're back. So let's talk about the 29th pick in the NFL draft, the Green Bay Packers. And on the line with us right now to talk about the Packers is our Green Bay guru, the man, the myth. Well, I don't want to call him a legend because we don't call anybody legends except us here at the Sports Box. His name is Ryan Hovermale. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me once again.
Oh, Ryan, it's our pleasure. It's just a pleasure to sit next to Brian over here all day long. So anyway,
You're damn right it is.
Anyway, let's get to the pick. The Green Bay pick, Ryan, is an interesting pick because here's a team that, thought we were going to go a lot further last year, and they kind of fell a little bit short. So let's hear from you, Ryan. Where do you think the Packers go this year?
I'd like them to go corner. 2 years ago, they took Demarius Randall and it was Randall and I forget the other guy's name. It's escaping me right now. But they took 2 corners, Randall and Rollins. I'm sorry, and we really thought that they were going to be the 2 guys, the bookends, to really bring Rodgers the next championship. The first year they played really well. Both of them really stepped into a nickel role and performed well, and then last year both took a huge step back. I'm a big proponent of you have to put people in a position to win, especially when you have a quarterback like Rodgers, and we don't have time to wait for them to hopefully figure it out. So I'd like to see them go corner. I'd like to see a physical presence that's not afraid to go against some of these big time athletes that we're seeing now. You're seeing 6'2", 6'3" wide receivers who run 4.2, 4.3 40s. And, you just need somebody out there to shut the best receiver down. So for me, I think that guy is Quincy Wilson, the kid from Florida. A lot of knocks on him is that he doesn't have the quick feet, the breakaway speed, but he's 6'1", he's 200 and something pounds, and he gets into it. Also brings a little bit of an attitude to a defense that, if you watch any Packers games, they have no attitude, they have no identity. They were okay stopping the run, but through the air, as evidenced in their last game of the season against the Falcons, it it was an embarrassment. You know, it was just up and down the field. You know, there was almost no resistance.
And I like the pick because Quincy Wilson, like you said, although there's knocks on him, the one biggest thing I've seen about him is he can close. He's the kind of guy that if he does get beat, he can come back and make a little bit of a play. Not that big of a hard hitter because he's only 6'1", but can close, and you're going to need that in the NFL because, like you said, Ryan, you got guys running past you that are running 4.40s. I mean, here's a guy who can close up, kind of like Hargraves of the Bucks. So yeah. I like the pick. I like the pick from Florida.
Yeah, for me, I like the fact he's coming out of the SEC. I think that's probably the most pro-like conference in college. So you're going to be up against guys who you might see at the pro level. And Ryan, offense is not their problem. Obviously, I mean that's they're envious. The envy of the league in many cases how good their offense runs. Now, what's interesting about that though is they have been linked to Joe Mixon, the running back out of Oklahoma, who's a very controversial, polarizing guy coming into this draft.
It'd be very tempting to take Joe Mixon at that pick.
But that's the one spot, Ryan, that you could see them do something. And I agree with you. I think Wilson is a pick there. Maybe even a guy like Chidobe Awuzie out of Colorado. I do think they go corner. I think it makes sense. But you take a look at that their need at running back. I am not a believer that Ty Montgomery is the guy who, in a window that the Packers have to really be successful while Aaron's in his prime.
He's a great filling guy.
Yeah, they need a guy there, and they haven't addressed it so much in free agency as of yet. They may later in this draft. What are you hearing about this possibility that they could go kind of off the board with a Joe Mixon player at 29?
Unfortunately, and I don't want to say unfortunately, because Mixon, for all accounts, and if you listen to all the pundits and all the reports, he's a top 10 talent. That the only reason he's fallen is because of the off-the-field issues.
Yeah.
In any other draft or in any other situation where he didn't, do what he did, I'd be ecstatic. I'd even thought of getting him in that position, but as you said, I'm not sure if it's the right fit. But again, to add on to that, with Montgomery, he hasn't really been healthy. Number one, he's injured every year. He missed most of his rookie season with an ankle. He was injured a little bit last year. I don't see him being a long-term solution there. So I do think they need a back. But, I'd like to see second, third round. There's a lot of talk with the kid from Toledo, the running back, I believe Kareem Hunt from Toledo, that I'd like to see him go after. Somebody in the second or third round. If Conley and Tre'Davious White and Quincy Wilson and all these guys are gone, I'd almost like to see him maybe take a Dalvin Cook before a Joe Mixon.
No, my Bucks got him locked up.
Yeah, we have him at 19.
I figured that Mike. Yeah. I watched Dalvin Cook a bunch this year, and I think he's the best pure back in the draft.
As long as his shoulder holds up, he's going to be a stud. So.
Yeah, I think he's a steal wherever he's going to go. Yeah. All the talk about him, not performing well at the combine and it's questionable the people he hangs out with. I think it's nonsense. I think he's a winner in my book, but. A lot of the mock drafts have Mixon going to Green Bay now at 29. Knowing Ted Thompson and the way that he drafts the Packers GM, I don't see how it's going to happen. At least in the first round, anyway.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree that I think Green Bay addresses the position at some point in this draft. And again, who's to say that a guy like Mixon doesn't fall to them in the second round, or maybe they see an opportunity to trade up higher in the second to get the guy that they want after they've addressed significant issues defensively, I think for sure. But exactly. No, I think Wilson's the nice pick.
And I'd be fine with him in even in the second round, even if they do have to trade up to to the 40s or early 50s. That's fine with me. I see the first round as being there can't be a reach, there can't be a question about it. It's got to be a guy that that you're going to get at least 3, 4, 5 solid years out of. And with Mixon, you think he's cleaned himself up, but that video is pretty disturbing.
That's true.
That's true. You don't know what you're going to get from him.
Yeah. So with the official sports box pick at 29 for the Green Bay Packers, per Ryan Hovermale, is Quincy Wilson, the cornerback to the Green Bay
So
Packers.
before we move on and talk about the Steelers at number 30, first we want to thank Ryan Hovermale for getting on and help us out with the Green Bay pick. Ryan, thank you as usual, my friend.
Thank you for having me, gentlemen.
Oh, Brian, it's our pleasure. It's absolutely a pleasure to talk to you instead of Brian in this segment, but that's fine. So before we get to our Steelers pick at number 30, we'll be right back.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or rent in the South Jersey area, give Dave Birbaum a call with RE/MAX Community, 856-524-2927, and buy with Burn.
And we're off to number 30. Pick in the draft is the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers have built themselves on defense, offensively, great team. Roethlisberger's still going on, even though he's aging. He's still a warrior out there. What can you say about this team? What can you say? You got to go defense with this team. I think the pick right here, could be defense. I might say could be defense, but I think at this position with tight end, with the issues this team has had in the last couple of years, I think you got to look at tight end. And David Nuka at a defensive end from Miami is definitely the way to go. He's the second tight end on the board, and I think there's not a lot of tight ends that go in this draft, but I think here's a kid who's pro-ready, who could step in with the Steeler offense, with obviously Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, all his weapons, and make a little bit of noise.
That guy.
Yeah.
Noku, North Korea,
yes.
Whatever his last name is.
Yeah, I don't think he's North Korea, but yeah.
We like that pick. And, I agree with you in that you really got to give Ben more weapons, okay? Yep. Obviously Antonio Brown's elite.
Yep.
Right? You have an elite running back in Le'Veon Bell.
Yep.
So let's give him more to work with. And I think to get a guy there, they don't really have a lot of obvious needs. I mean, again, they would love it if a John Ross would fall to them to get a slot guy with some speed.
Yep.
But that's not going to work out for them. Do I think a Deshaun Kaiser is a pick here? I don't, because I just think you want to give Ben as much firepower to get maybe another ring while he's still there. I just don't think you're worried about post Roethlisberger right now, right? So for me, I think it makes a lot of sense for David North Korea, whatever his last name is, tight end out of Miami. I think it's a nice pick there to again give another athletic guy to Ben throw the ball to.
And at the 31st pick in the draft, those Atlanta Falcons. Oh, how are the Atlanta Falcons ever going to recover from that Super Bowl
Did you
loss?
know the Falcons were up 28-3 with like 2 minutes left in the third quarter?
I think
Super Bowl?
they're the best team in.
You would think they would have won that game.
The best team in the Super and the best team in the league, right? And they blew it.
Where are the Falcons fans that gave me so much crap?
Where's my boy Red Bird?
Where are you at, bro? Come on, bro.
Dude. You
were
were all over us every round of the playoffs,
God.
and now you're nowhere to be found.
Expletives all over the
Probably jumped
place.
off a
You're
bridge or
a bunch of
something.
effing morons. Yeah.
But anyway, that's a whole different show. Anyway, we are going to get into their pick. I think the Atlanta Falcons have to start from scratch. Maybe not start from scratch, but offensive guard. Forrest Lamp from Western Kentucky, I think, is the move there. You want to protect. You saw what Matt Ryan can do when he has time and gets out in the pocket and can get some guys open. So I think you want to try to protect him as best you can. Forrest Lamp's the obvious choice here.
Yeah, I think they're thrilled to have him. I think that he could go a lot of other places as well. But the way the draft falls, the Atlanta gets some very, very much needed offensive line help to protect Matt Ryan. I think defensively they're better than even I want to give them credit for. A lot of that could be coaching, but to get a guy like Lamp here, maybe even a Deion Dawkins, but I prefer Lamp to Dawkins myself. So Lamp there's a nice fit because again, for a team that wants to make sure that Matt Ryan is upright, that Matt Ryan has the ability to get the ball down the field to these great talents that they have on the outside, I think it's nice. I think to be able to pad that line is a good thing. I like Forrest Lamp as well.
And in the last pick in the first round,
Patriots, right?
No, the New Orleans Saints, again, for the second time in the first round. First time they went defense, second time they will go defense. And I think it's a good pick. They have T.J. Watt there for them, outside linebacker from Wisconsin. Yes, he has another Watt coming into the league. I think he adds a little bit of depth to this team. From a New Orleans team that's struggling, here's a guy that's going to step in, and I think he's going to make a difference.
Defense for sure. For sure. I think it would be interesting, Mike. Adoree Jackson is still on our board here at 32. He's a guy who could have gone a little higher as well. So it would be curious to see if New Orleans finally looks at the corners and says, you know what, we just need to just address this.
I just don't think they go corner.
I agree with you. Yeah. I think it would be interesting, though.
Yep.
I think it would be a talking point after the draft. But I agree. I think to get some linebacker help and a guy of Watt's pedigree coming out of Wisconsin is a great fit for them. Yep. This is the pick that they got in exchange from New England. in the trade that they made for Brandon Cooks. It's a nice fit. You know, again, it makes them, it helps them in the positions that they need the most, which is clearly for this team, while they still have Drew Brees, on the defensive side of the ball, because they were getting lit up by everybody. So to get a guy who can step and play for you right now, I think is great. We'll go with Watt at 32, and that ends the first round.
And there we go. And that is our first round mock. If you've been with us the entire time, thank you very much. If you haven't, go back and watch. We got good content. We always got good stuff coming. And remember, you know, we work hard on this. So go back and patronize us and watch it.
Absolutely. So. And of course, Twitter and Facebook is where you can find us on social media, at Sportsbox Show on both of those. And if you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel, you know what? It's free. Money back guarantee. You will not lose $1 watching the Sports Box, but you will gain so much.
It's like staying at the Holiday Inn. So anyway. Thank you for watching. Keep an eye out. We got good stuff coming at the Sports Box. The only opinion that matters is still right here. Tampa Bay fans, he's coming. Dalvin Cook, baby. Thanks for watching. See you. 1, 2, 3.
Don't forget to subscribe.